Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Give us a few more minutes as we have more attendees continue to log on. Wait till about one after, then I'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, everyone. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thanks everyone for joining us today on defining a path to digital delivery for government agencies. If you have questions during the presentation, please drop them in the chat box. We plan to address them at the end of the presentation, but if applicable, we'll address them as we go through. As you know, most government agencies juggle multiple capital projects each year with different consultants, contractors, and departments. That usually entails passing around PDFs, spreadsheets, and emails that makes it tough to track changes or keep everyone aligned. Digital delivery changes that. It connects project data in one place, speeds up reviews, reduces rework, and builds a reliable digital record of all your assets. The result of being better coordination, faster delivery, and smarter use of public funds. Today, we're going to talk about what digital delivery really means, why it matters, the common challenges, how to fix them, and ways to get started. We will also touch on some of the key priorities we're seeing across DOTs. At the end, we'll wrap up with a quick summary and open it up for questions. With that, name's Lawrence Vaughn. I'm a senior account executive at SYMETRI. I reside on the government team.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie Brown. I'm a manager of infrastructure programs. My background's in civil engineering. I've been in the industry for about 20 years, and I assist agencies and companies with their consulting needs in the civil engineering industry.
Our focus here at SYMETRI is helping public agencies use technology strategically to improve how they operate and deliver projects.
And our expertise here at SYMETRI in the digital delivery and digital transformation realm helps us modernize how agencies plan, design, and execute their infrastructure projects.
Many ways that we help. We provide innovative tools, training, consulting services for enhanced efficiency, transparency, and collaboration. So with that, we have a few poll questions we want to ask that will help us better gauge our audience today. So our first question is, what is your role at your agency? Feel free to pick one that best suits your role at your current agency. And then we'll give it a minute to everyone fill it out, and then we'll show the results. All right, maybe that's enough time. We'll see if we can, if we have enough results to share. It's great. All right. And we'll move on to the next poll. There we go. Have you or someone in your department aware of conducting any research on digital delivery? All right, we'll see the results here. That's great. All right, next question. Is your currently, it looks like a lot of people have already done research. Do you yet have a dedicated digital delivery personnel? All right, we'll see the results here. All right, thank you. And one more. And what's your time frame? So for those of you that are still looking and trying to figure out when to implement this process, give us an idea of what your time frame do you think for you to fully implement this, or maybe even identify a pilot project. All right, thank you. We'll see the results. Great. All right. And this is the most important question of the day. What are your plans for Thanksgiving? You going to travel by plane, car, stay home, or none of the above? I'm curious to see what the results are here. Wow, not expecting that. All right. Thank you, everyone, for filling that out. That helps us get a better idea of who's in the audience. So, as we're getting started, let's identify what is digital delivery. I think many people may have different definitions of that. How we see it is digital delivery uses data-driven workflows that enhance accuracy and efficiency in project execution. It replaces traditional 2D plans with 3D models as well as other digital files that serve as official legal construction documents. Digital delivery enhances communication among stakeholders, supporting better collaboration throughout the whole project lifecycle. Also, adopting digital delivery streamlines processes, reduces errors, and improves overall project outcome effectively.
Okay, so why does digital delivery matter, and why are we going through all of this effort to move towards digital transformation? Well, the first thing is that it definitely improves efficiency and collaboration, without a doubt. So these connected deliverable digital workflows, they reduce the manual data, they reduce version confusion and communication gaps between all of the people involved in a project, consultants, contractors, everyone. So the collaboration is greatly improved with digital delivery. Also, real-time access to project information really helps us to track the progress of projects. It helps us document decisions and maintain clear audit trails of information. It also ensures that our data has long-term value. So these structured deliverables, they create reliable digital records that support the whole project life cycle. So even through operations and maintenance and into future projects, digital as-builts, for instance, these can assist us very long term. And then it really reduces risk and rework, and this is a big one. Working from a single source really minimizes those errors and design conflicts and costly changes when you get to construction.
Common challenges we see is I'm sure everyone on this call knows, is being siloed. Data system operating in isolation hinder integration and create barriers to efficient digital delivery. Reliance on manual processes lead to errors, inefficiencies, and project execution. Various tools, platforms failing to communicate impede seamless collaboration and data sharing, and paper-based workflows and isolated, again, data silos reduce efficiency and limit transparency in government operations. Modernization requires fundamental changes to become more collaborative, data-driven, and resilient. And enhanced infrastructure processes are vital to address project complexity and raising stakeholder expectations.
So really just to focus in on a little bit more of those challenges and how digital delivery can fix it. So right now or maybe not right now, but in the past, we've relied on a 2D plan set for our project deliverables. Um, can you click, Lawrence? There you go. So with these 2D plan sets, it's very manual. There's manual workflows. It's difficult to collaborate with everyone on the project. There's really not a location or a place for people to really come together on a project. The data is very siloed, like Lawrence mentioned. And a big one is that errors can be overlooked. You really can't see a project, how it's going to look in the real world when you're looking at a 2D plan set. And there could be errors in that design that can be missed because you can't see them. Also, there's stakeholder confusion. People involved in the project don't really understand what's going on with that project without being able to see, what's underground and things like that. So, how digital delivery can fix this is we can have these project outcomes here for digital delivery. So it can improve the design quality. Of course, it's going to, make those errors less because we're able to see things in 3 dimensions. You can see if a pipe is hitting a structure or something like that. You can really understand what's going on with the design and improve that quality. There's also going to be improved collaboration between all of the people in the project because you have these files that are digital and they're maybe you're working in a common data environment and you're able to come together on projects and really collaborate and be effective. It improves that data exchange. So moving from one system to another, which also is system continuity, for that data to go from one system to another is a lot more streamlined and efficient when you're working in a digital delivery environment. Reducing errors in RFIs when you get to construction, those errors will be caught ahead of time instead of when it's under construction. You're also going to increase your workload capacity because the dynamic ability of working in this more digital environment is going to allow you to be more efficient on your projects. And stakeholder buy-in. The stakeholders are going to be able to view the models and the files and the projects in a much more visual way than looking at a 2D plan set. Okay, so we know we obviously really emphasize the benefits of digital delivery and why this is the way of the future and the way to go. But how do we get started? Digital delivery, it's something that has to be customized. There's no magic formula, there's no cookie cutter template to follow. It needs to be customized, but it also needs to be flexible and have the ability to grow with you without the expense of being backed into a corner. So really, a big step in the beginning is to evaluate your internal workflows and systems. What systems are being used at your agency and where can you streamline some of those systems and workflows to really eliminate the need for unnecessary systems or workflows or things that are just not needed for the entire process. And this is for the entire project lifecycle. We're not just talking about design here. We're talking about, construction, operations, maintenance, the whole project lifecycle, really evaluating what you're utilizing and seeing what's necessary and what's not. You also definitely want to involve various disciplines for strategic planning. So you don't want to just focus on one area of your industry or of your agency. You want to make sure that you're involving everyone because what works for one discipline or department might not work for another. So you don't want to have to reinvent the wheel if you have to start to involve other people after you've created something for one department. You just want to make sure that you're involving everyone and making sure that it's going to work for everyone. And you also want to start to think about being file agnostic, what type of approach you want to have, whether it's MALD, which is model as a legal document, or more of a hybrid approach, which I'm going to get into those details in the couple slides coming up. So that's really the first step. The second step is to sort of prioritize your data and project types. So where will all of this make the most sense at your agency, and where is a good place to start? Although I said in the step before this, you do want to involve various disciplines, but you may want to figure out one particular area or a couple particular areas that could be prioritized, and what data makes the most sense to involve in the process. And then really start to evaluate what your desired outcome is. What's your vision? What are you shooting for? And what is the goal of this program or this process? Really start to lay out some short-term and long-term goals. There may be some things that are low-hanging fruit that you might be able to accomplish in the short term, and then there may be some things that are a little more lofty that you're aiming for in the future. And then also just getting a really realistic timeline for different milestones along the way, and really trying to stick to that timeline. You definitely don't want to leave things open-ended because then they'll never really get done. You want to make sure you're establishing timelines and sticking to them. And then once you sort of get the process started, the next steps will be to really start to get into developing those standards and templates, project execution plans, start to identify and implement digital delivery on pilot projects. And we always recommend to start with sort of smaller, low-risk projects, and also different types of projects. Don't focus really on one type. Have a couple different types so that you can really feel out how this works for different project types. This provides a lot of valuable feedback, and it really helps to improve the future of the program. So, as I mentioned, I was going to jump into the various sort of digital delivery approaches. And these three are not necessarily to be compared to one another, but they're just sort of different things to consider when approaching digital delivery. So one of them is being file agnostic or having open standards. And what this means is what types of deliverables are you going to accept at your agency? One example is to have standards that are developed for Autodesk and Bentley products. So not just focused on one or the other, but actually developing standards around both so that you can have and accept formats in both. Also being file agnostic means to have, once you get into your pilot projects, have those be delivered in various platforms. So don't just have pilot projects that are from one platform. Have it come from different ones so that you can really feel out the process and make sure that it's working in various formats. And also evaluate other software, from CAD authoring software to common data environment software. Just really evaluating what all is out there and available, and being open to the different types of files to be accepted. And also, just to mention, there is IFC. Building Smart is developing an IFC open file format. And for the horizontal or civil industry, it's coming along. It's not quite there yet, but we're hoping that this is going to be the open format of the future that really will accept and interoperate between all different types of software platforms. Okay, then jumping into MALD. So MALD stands for Model as a Legal Document. And this approach to digital delivery is where you are developing the model to be the official engineering document of record. This model is going to be developed in design, but it will be used for construction. And this is definitely the most advanced approach. You really want to have all your ducks in a row for taking this approach to digital delivery. And I'll talk through it a little bit more. And then there's also the hybrid approach. So this is where you do also develop a model. You have those model file deliverables, and those deliverables can contain model views and annotated views inside the model that can be used for construction. But you also will have a PDF or a 2D plan set deliverable that's included as the official engineering document of record. So that's one approach as well. So talking a little bit more through each of those three things I just mentioned, some benefits and challenges to having a file agnostic approach or an open standards approach. So if you have designers, if you have consultants that are doing designs for you, they can really play to their strengths. If they're better at a certain type of software than another, they can utilize what they're better at, and you can accept that as a deliverable. This really does prioritize the data and the model over the software. It doesn't matter where the model comes from, as long as the model is a good model. And then you're not limited by one platform. Some platforms do things better than others, so you really can utilize the best software for what you're doing instead of pigeonholing yourself into one area and one type of software. The challenges with having this file agnostic approach is that you do have to maintain and manage multiple different types of standards. So as we know, not all platforms talk well with each other. So you have to develop templates and standards and things around two different types of, or more than two different types of platforms. There's various tools to learn and maintain. So you're not just learning one type of software, you're learning multiple. And then also maintaining those standards and templates, the software advancements are not always one-to-one. So, a new feature might occur in one type of software that doesn't in another. And it's a little bit challenging to keep those aligned with one another. Oh, model as a legal document, just talking a little bit more and diving deeper into what this means and what makes it successful. So really, this is having the model as the source for design and construction. So everything is in that model. The model is set up so that there's no paper that's needed for the project. In order to make this successful, you definitely have to make sure that you develop internal systems and processes that are all inclusive of everything that's going to be needed to develop the model. This also includes contract language that needs to legally allow for a model to be the legal document. You want to have dedicated personnel or champions for the program. And this actually is not just for MALD. This is for digital delivery in general. Having those dedicated people and personnel that are, excited, or they just are very into what you're doing for this program, really helps to move it along. You want to have those people that are embedded and make the system move along. Understanding level of development. So There's not always elements of the model that need to be super detailed. You can have elements of the model that are just representative, um, or you can have elements of the model that are very detailed. So are you going to model nails and screws for certain things or not? So you really have to get a feel for and establish that level of development for all of the elements that are going to be modeled. And also for the model to be accepted as a legally binding document, you have to have sufficient level of detail. It's also very important to develop QA/QC and review methods. You want to make sure that everyone knows how to view the model, how to review the model, and how to check the model, and making sure that those methods are established. And of course, you want to have stakeholder buy-in. Everyone that is involved in this process needs to accept it and understand it. And they need to accept that this is going to be the legal binding document. And just for reference, there are some things out there. One is from AASHTO. They have a MALD maturity model framework document that sort of lays out, the framework of how to establish MALD. There's also standards. The ISO 19650 standards that's an international standard for managing information of the life cycle of built assets using 3D modeling or BIM. So some things to look into there. So then another way to consider digital delivery is a hybrid approach. So this is where the model file deliverables, they'll contain model views or annotated views. But what you model and the elements that you model can vary. So, you're still developing a model for the project, and it can be used for the construction of the project, but you can determine what elements you want to model. Maybe you're not modeling everything. Maybe you just start with modeling the earthwork or the surfaces. And then you can add in the pavement sections, or depending on, different types of projects have different elements, but you can start to expand from there. But you could start small and build upon it. And the reason you can do that is because you will still be including a PDF or paper deliverable as the official engineering document of record. So that will still be there, but you may be able to eliminate some of those legacy sheets or things that are really not necessary because they can be replaced by something in the model. So you can use both the plan sets and the model file to demonstrate what needs to be shown on a project. And just to point out, the FHWA doesn't mandate it, but it recommends the use of BIM or 3D modeling for infrastructure. So this is the way of the future. This is the way that everyone is going, and we just need to roll with it and keep moving along. Just a little bit about what could be included in the model files. You can have, so the model files can be embedded to have model views so that you can set up different views in the model. So the contractor can come in and have that view already set up to see what they need to see. You can have annotated views, which is sort of the same thing, but it has annotation on it so that the contractor, whoever's looking at the model, can actually see something annotated because if you think about a 3D model, you don't think about having annotation on there, but you can set up views to include that annotation. And then also something that's very important is the data behind the elements. So that property data can be built into those elements. And this is a very important part of 3D modeling and the whole process of digital delivery, because you can utilize that data to take to other systems such as GIS, asset management, things like that. So it's very important to establish that data sort of behind the scenes in the model. And real quick, just a couple things to mention, additional model file types. So Um, these are file types that can be considered for digital delivery. A federated model is a general term where it's where you bring different pieces of your model together. So if parts of it are modeled in Civil 3D, parts of it are modeled in Revit, parts of it are modeled maybe in a Bentley software, you can bring all of those things together to create a federated model, which is really viewing and utilizing the model with all of its elements in one place. And there's different types of software that can bring that together. And then, like I mentioned before, IFC, the open format, um, is a format that can be utilized now, but we're hoping in the future that it will be a little bit more user-friendly and a little bit more all-encompassing when it comes to including all of the data. And then XML files are always that's sort of an open format file type as well, that can be brought from different types of softwares to another. So so yeah, that's different things that can be in a model, different ways to approach digital delivery, and some things to think about when getting started on this journey.
Great. So I've personally learned through a lot of DOTs making a lot of this change, and I've identified some of the shared priorities across some of these agencies. And one is the Department of Transportations are fastly moving away from traditional 2D plan sets to 3D models to serve as their official construction documents, improving clarity, coordination, and accuracy across projects. By them adopting these open data formats and workflows, agencies are ensuring a seamless interoperability and long-term access to project information. DOTs also aim to expand opportunities and encourage participation from a broader range of design firms than they currently work with at the moment. Digital delivery also boosts collaboration and it's cutting costs, it's streamlining project workflows. However, success does depend on addressing workflow training needs and supporting transition to new technologies. Many Department of Transportations are rolling out a digital delivery through kind of a phased implementation, starting with pilot projects, as Jackie had mentioned, identifying smaller, safer projects as a pilot to start. They're learning from their early results and then scaling up when while keeping stakeholders engaged.
Okay, so just a little bit of a summary of what we talked about and some things to take away from this presentation. Hopefully it was informative for you. But really, digital delivery enhances accuracy and efficiency in project execution and really throughout the whole project life cycle. It enhances communication and collaboration as well. And there are several different approaches, and there's no like I said before, there's no cookie cutter template for how to do this, but there are different approaches to consider and evaluate when you're starting the process. And also keep in mind that if you are starting or, sort of at the beginning of this journey, you're not the only one that has done it or is going through it. There are many other agencies implementing it, and they're doing a lot of different things in a lot of different ways. And there's a lot of resources and information out there to sort of grab ideas from. And one thing about government agencies is that you don't really compete with each other. So sharing ideas is a lot, and collaborating with other agencies is a lot of what they do and how they exchange ideas. So the information is out there. But Symmetry can help you to gather and start and or continue the journey if you've already started. So just keep that in mind as well.
And that's great. Well, this is where we open it up for questions. Jackie, I know I've got a couple that from a conversation I had with customer earlier this week, but I'd like to open it up to see if anyone has anything that we can address now during this presentation, feel free to jump, chat it in the chat box. But as people are hopefully thinking of some questions to ask, Jackie, I came across one, as I mentioned earlier this week, of how common is MALD becoming? Is that something that's being adopted
Um,
faster than we think?
yeah, it is being adopted, and we're mostly seeing it in the DOT space is really where it's being the most utilized. I think that when a lot of DOTs started their digital delivery journey, MALD was their goal and what they wanted to get to. And not that that's a bad thing, but I think that along the way they sort of took it a step back a little bit and sort of started out with that hybrid approach, and then MALD is the eventual goal. So they didn't jump right to it. They're making their way there.
Any legal issues that it has that caught up with the mold methodology, or is there something that's still being worked on as far as that's concerned?
I'm definitely legal is anything, if your agency has a legal team or whatever is used for legal, they need to be involved when establishing this process. But um, as far as issues, no, I think that it just has to be implemented ahead of time and just make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and then you'll be good to go.
Okay. Question about open standards is what would be your opinion? I'm trying to reword this. What would be your opinion on the process of getting started with implementing an open standards?
I think that probably most agencies have a certain format that they're utilizing either in-house or that they accept as a deliverable now. So that is where you would start to establish your standards and your modeling standards and your modeling templates. And from there, you basically establish one and then take it, and you can't, directly copy it to another format, but you would utilize that set of standards to develop standards for another format. So, um, and we do see that a lot more agencies are becoming more open to being file agnostic because they really see the benefit in having the best tools for the job and not limiting themselves on that. So,
Great. All right. Well, thanks for that. Well, I think that'll be it for our questions. So we could go ahead and wrap it up here. But always feel free to reach out to us. Again, name's Lawrence Vaughn. My contact information is there. Um, Keep an eye out for more digital delivery information. We're going to keep this campaign going and send some more information out there and kind of take you through this process as you decide or trying to grow a digital delivery approach. Visit us on LinkedIn. We have lots of great posts and lots of great information that we commonly keep updated through our LinkedIn, as well as our website. You'll be able to reach a recording of this presentation as well as other presentation through our website as well. And I do want to leave it off with the time of the year is we wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving. And when you get back, reach out to us and start these conversations and let us know how we can help you. Thanks for joining us.
thank you.